Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of living, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
Come, whoever you are,
Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of living, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of living, ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair.
My name is Ralph Banks, and I will be your service associate today. Welcome to Auburn Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, which is located on land, on occupied ancestral land of the Muscogee Nation, and housed in a building constructed by recently freed, formerly enslaved African Americans. We gather here with humility, honoring those who came before us. We extend a special welcome to those of you who are visiting or still getting acquainted with this community, looking for a place you can call your spiritual home. We hope you will feel welcome and accepted just as you are. We invite you to join us in our mission to build a welcoming and caring community dedicated to challenging the mind, nurturing the spirit, and transforming the world through the pursuit of truth, love, and justice. If you are new, we invite you to add your name and contact information to our visitor log under the church near the greeters. If you would like to receive our newsletter or sign up for our listserv, you can go online to auuf.org/subscribe. Now, as we ring the bell to begin our service, please silence your phone. Opening words from Reverend Dr. Prudhomme. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology, embracing pluralism by affirming that there are many paths to the sacred. We hold fast to the idea that no single religion holds all the truth, not even our own. In this spirit, may we be gathered here this morning. Our chapel is lighted with these words. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. This morning marks the fourth Sunday in the season of Advent in the Christian tradition. Each week until Christmas, we light a new candle on the Advent wreath. The circle of greenery reminds us of the eternal cycle of all life, without beginning or end. And the candles remind us that we are each called to emit our glow amid the pain and suffering facing our world. The light of the Advent grows brighter and brighter, guiding us toward personal peace, shared joy, and more life. This morning, we light the fourth candle. We light this candle as a reminder that there is no greater power in the world than love. Through this community, we become a blessing to one another. Our love is magnified, and our lives are changed. We can hardly wait any longer for the wonder of love to be revealed. May we risk enough to become vulnerable and welcome joy and holy tenderness. Please rise as you are able in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 225 in the great hymnal. O come, Emmanuel. One of the ways we care for our community is by sharing joys, concerns, and milestones. There's a time for announcement at the end of our service. We begin with a silent sharing and invite you, one at a time, to drop a pebble and drop a little boat. If you have a brief joy, concern, or milestone that you'd like to share with the congregation, please come to the front and share it using the microphone. Please say your name.
Hi, I'm Laura. I just want to wish everyone
good health, because many people are getting sick right now. So good health to everyone.
I'm Carl, and I'm concerned about two people who have gotten sick, Carter and Lisa, her wife, both of whom have COVID. And Lisa has just recovered from the surgery last week, so it's particularly inopportune. So keep them in your thoughts.
I'm going to have a very Merry Christmas because my grandson Malcolm, my daughter Jessica, and her husband Dennis will all be there when I get home after church. And they'll be there for 7 days. And
So first I'll speak as Reverend Marti. I want to thank the staff for being gifts to us all year round. So I want you to join me in thanking all of our staff. Some of whom will be on a little bit of leave this week, including Zenda. So we'll be off from the 25th to the 1st, and then we'll be back on the 2nd, ready to serve you. And then my mom thing is that my daughter is not with me because she's well enough to be in Germany on a river cruise. So.
To all with joys, concerns, and milestones this morning, whether silent or spoken, may you be uplifted by this community and our common humanity. Our religious community is like a river formed from many streams of our individual lives, merging and flowing to the sea. The members and friends of this fellowship share our time, energy, creativity, imagination, vision, talents, and skills. Our metaphorical river also depends on our shared financial support, complement our time and energy. At this time, we invite you to give as generously as you are able in service of our mission. You may contribute online via PayPal at auf.org/donate. If you're writing a check, make your check payable to AUUF. If this is your first time with us, please allow the offering mat to pass by. You're joining us this hour as a gift. Now the offering will be received with gratitude.
Gracious peace, never ending.
Our moment for all ages will be shared by Laura Kloberg, who valiantly stepped in to take Carter's place when she got an unfavorable COVID test. So if people who are young at heart, or anybody who thinks they can sit on the floor and get back up.
I don't guess we have, so I will turn the book around so you can see. This is called The Shortest Day, which we just had yesterday, didn't we? You know why it was the shortest day? In late autumn, in the northern part of the world, squirrels hide nuts, foxes grow thick fur coats, and flocks of birds fly to warmer places. The sun rises later each morning and sets earlier each evening. Each day it appears lower in the southern sky. As the sun gets lower and lower, the north gets less and less daylight. The air grows colder. Chickadees fluff their feathers to keep warm. Woodchucks hibernate in their burrows. And the white-tailed deer nuzzle through the snow to find the last blades of grass. There they are. It's a long story now. It's a whole year long. On shorter winter days, children bundle in their warm clothes and walk through the frosty white world, dragging long shadows behind them. Fortunately, our world is not so frosty white. On long winter nights, families eat dinner while it's dark outside. Children wonder when the days will get long again so they can play outside after dinner like they did in summer. In the north, on or around December 21st, the sun reaches its lowest point on the horizon, making that day the shortest day of the year. Like all days, December 21st has 24 hours, but it's called the shortest day because it has the fewest hours of daylight. The shortest day, called the winter solstice, is the beginning of winter. And in some places, winter means cold, nose-nipping weather. The earth tilts as it moves around the sun. When the northern part of the earth tilts away from the sun, the north gets less heat and light than the southern part. Long ago, people didn't understand how the earth tilts and moves around the sun. They didn't understand why each day had less sunshine than the day before. Some believed that evil spirits made the sun go away. People feared that the sun wouldn't shine on them anymore, making their world cold and dreary and dark. They needed the sun's warmth and light. So did their plants, which they needed for food. They held ceremonies that lasted for weeks to persuade their gods to bring the sun back. Over the years, people noticed that after short days, the days got gradually longer. Joyous people bathed in the sun's warmth and light. They celebrated their harvests. About 5,000 years ago, people who studied the sky noticed that day after day the sun set in different places on the western horizon. They discovered that when the sun set farthest south, that was the shortest day. Those early astronomers planned to mark the shortest day. Then each year people would know when the days would start getting longer again. On the day when the sun reached the southernmost point in the horizon, the astronomers carried out their plan. Workers stacked stones to frame the setting sun. They made a special opening like a keyhole or the eye of a needle. When the setting sun's rays beamed through that opening, people knew that the shortest day was over. Days gradually got longer for the nearest 6 months. And then the sun appeared farthest to the north. Its rays shone through another keyhole. People knew it was the longest day of the year, the first day of summer. In China, over 3,000 years ago, astronomers measured shadows to determine the shortest day. The longest shadows appeared on the shortest day because the sun was at its lowest point in the sky. They knew that as the sun appeared higher in the sky, the shadows would get shorter and the days would get longer. Over 2,000 years ago, Romans celebrated the shortest day with festivals and merrymaking. They gave evergreen branches to friends as a sign of good luck. Evergreen wreaths decorated their doors. Since these plants stayed green when the others turned brown, they reminded the Romans of the coming spring. Mistletoe and holly hung in their homes because plants that survived the harsh winter were symbols of life. Many people believed these plants would bring strength to their families. About 1,000 years ago, Europeans celebrated the winter solstice. Druid priests of England and Ireland decorated oak trees with golden apples and candles to represent the harvest and light. In Sweden, the Festival of Light celebrated the return of longer days. On St. Lucia's Day, girls wore crowns of evergreens and candles to rekindle the sun's fire as they delivered warm buns to family and friends. Boys went from door to door singing to the neighbors for a few coins. I don't think I'd want to wear candles on my crown. I think they were pretty brave. Around the same time in history, Incas of Peru marked the shortest day with a festival in honor of the sun. At dawn, when the sun first appeared, the shouts of happiness rang out. Then the Incas used a shiny surface to reflect the sun's rays onto fluffy, dry cotton. The sun heated the cotton and made it burst into flame. They carried the fire to their temples and kept it burning on the altars all year because it came from one of their gods, the sun. Today, people still celebrate at the beginning of winter by decorating their houses, lighting the darkness, gathering together, and exchanging gifts. They no longer worry that the sun will disappear forever. People know that the days get colder when their part of the earth tilts away from the sun. They know that the days get shorter when the sun appears lower in the sky. People celebrate the shortest day because longer days follow. Flocks of birds will return, seedling oak trees will sprout, and children can play outside after dinner. For more than 5,000 years, people have welcomed the winter solstice because it is a new beginning. Then it goes on to solstice facts and all these things that are way more not story-like. So, have you noticed the sun? I don't like the sun because I drive a car, and at this time of year, the sun, in the morning, it's like right in your eyes, and in the evening, when I have to be driving somewhere, it's right in my eyes, and it's really hard to drive, and it's very scary to drive at those times when everybody else is also getting off work or going to work. It's not very good. So,
We'll sing you out.
May your minds be open to new learning. May your words bring truth into the world. May your hearts know love and your hands do justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Thanks, Laura. We're going to take a minute, as is our new old custom, to be with ourselves, to be with our breath, to meditate. So I invite you to put your both feet on the ground if that feels okay. And if it helps you to close your eyes to focus, and do that. And be with your breath, the collective breath of this beloved community for just a minute or so. Out of the silence comes healing and peace. So Hanukkah menorahs made the news yesterday. They made the news yesterday when the Jerusalem Post reported that the world's largest menorah was erected on Thursday at the corner of 5th Avenue and 59th Street near Central Park in New York City. Standing 36 feet high, one of the 15,000 large public menorahs internationally. One of them showcased at the White House a little early. Remember, this is a test. When does Hanukkah start? Christmas night. So you're not going to see one candle in any menorah until the 29th. So, but it's been menorahs big menorahs at the White House, at the Eiffel Tower, and other major global landmarks. Let alone the availability on Amazon this year of an 8-foot inflatable outdoor menorah blow-up yard decoration. Should I get one?
No.
Perfect. Don't dear me. I will. Especially if it's at Buc-ee's. No. A far cry, a very far cry from winter holidays past, growing up as the daughter of secular, humanist, Unitarian Jews in at least culturally Christian communities. Part of why I felt so sorry for my conservative Jewish cousins was that they weren't allowed to put up Christmas trees with sparkling lights, let alone string lights outside. And in the towns where I lived, menorahs were never displayed on windowsills for the outdoor world to see, even though Jewish law requires that candles be seen, that menorah candles be seen from the street to publicize the miracle that the Maccabee oil lasted 8 full days. It was still too anti-Semitic and dangerous a time to shine that much light. To be that public in identifying yourself as being part of what was then considered, and in many quarters is still considered, an unenlightened and even un-American faith. For even mildly observant Jewish families, including my husband's, theirs was strictly a second-hand, vicarious experience of holiday lights. You could cruise around the Christian neighborhoods after dinner and admire the showy and wondrous displays, or sometimes you were invited into the houses where the tall, good-smelling trees blazed with light, but never inside your own home. Even if you called it a Hanukkah bush, it was still not okay. Only the Christian Christmas was electrified. Hanukkah was still strictly no wattage. There was at least some unwavering line of distinction between different holidays and traditions in the melting pot called America, and this was one of them. So I will admit that these relatively new Hanukkah celebration elements, the electrified menorahs, the lights in the shape of dreidel tops, the giant public menorahs, the inflatable ones for outdoor yard display, seemed at first sight incongruous, even inappropriate to me, like hearing unmistakably Jewish diva Barbra Streisand singing "Oh Holy Night" on one of those all-Christmas music stations or Pandora. And let me tell you, I sang in the choir when I was in public school, 5th, 6th grade, and I was given the alto part of "Oh Holy Night" one year in the 5th grade, and my mother came to hear that, and even she was outraged. That was a bridge too far for my humanist Jewish mother, that her daughter was singing "Oh Holy Night." No, no, no. Somehow or other, I couldn't help but notice, a little woefully, a line had been crossed for me between the sense and symbol of one distinct religious tradition and another. Now, some choose to label this blurring of religious boundaries as a fancy word called syncretism, a nearly always disparaging term for what they believe is an ill-advised attempt to blend different systems of religious belief or practice. A worldview that counts on perpetuating the differences, indeed what they see as inevitable and competitive fault lines, instead of the common ground among various faiths. It is a perspective demonstrated in spades, I would say in spades, in a statement issued one year by the Reverend James Merritt, the then president of the Southern Baptist Convention, who urged his fellow Southern Baptists to fast and pray that Muslims would be converted to Christianity on December 16th. I call on all our Southern Baptists to pray and fast that God will miraculously and supernaturally reveal himself, Jesus Christ, to Muslims that day, he urged. There is the idea that we worship the same God at all these interfaith meetings, and we do not he declared. If Jesus Christ is the only way to heaven, the only true religion, therefore must Christianity, he said. It must be Christianity. Every other religion gives a false hope of having any relationship to God. Of course, this was not the only time in recent history that Southern Baptists attempted conversion campaigns during holiday periods, having previously targeted the Jews and the Hindus. And then there was a wave of letters supporting the Southern Baptist president's position, reminding other readers that only Christianity, in their view, addresses the issue of sin, that all other world religions teach that God will let you into his heaven if you earn it, and that Jesus is the only way again to God and salvation. Some of these folks were especially perturbed that in their view, those who want to celebrate Christmas publicly have been silenced, that even saying Merry Christmas have been censored, and that this bothersome business of having perhaps to also say Happy Hanukkah or Happy Kwanzaa or Happy Holidays was another indication of the mixed up state of multiculturalism we had fallen into. On the other hand, there are some who see this bumping up against and mingling of religions, especially at holiday times, as inevitable and even rich and even promising, including the recently deceased professor of comparative religion, Diana Eck, who spent considerable time studying what she came to see as the new religious America, a self-described Christian country which has become instead the world's most religiously diverse nation. She had the opportunity to express our increasing multi-religious society through her own pluralism project, inspired by one of her students at Harvard University in the spring of 1990, a young man named Mukesh, an Indian American, who told her about a Hindu summer camp he had attended as a child in the nearby mountains. She hadn't a clue that it even existed at all. A Hindu summer camp in the mountains of Massachusetts. If she was going to teach classes on Hinduism, for example, perhaps it was time for her to learn something about Hindus in this country. And if she was going to teach about other comparative religious traditions, she had better start exposing herself to other immigrant religious communities, such as Korean Buddhists, such as Korean Christians, or African American Muslims. So she developed a research seminar called World Religions in New England, not an oxymoron. World Religions in New England, visiting various houses of worship in the greater Boston area, which expanded and exploded over the years into a nationwide search by her students on their semester and summer breaks, forcing them to become strangers in their own towns, where they discovered for them astonishing new data and perspectives. So in a society where, as she wrote, members of various religions no longer live on the other side of the world from each other, but in our own neighborhoods or our own neighboring counties, we have the opportunity, she wrote, to shape what she called a positive pluralism. What she liked to describe, and I really love this, as a symphony of society, each retaining its differences, all sounding together with an ear to the music of the whole. All of them aspects of what former and silenced and eventually excommunicated Catholic priest, spiritual theologian Matthew Fox calls deep ecumenism. A way of explaining what this thing called deep ecumenism is, Fox quotes Meister Eckhart, who said that diversity is an underground river that no one can stop and no one can dam up. And I'm going to say that again. Divinity is an underground river that no one can stop and no one can dam up. There is one underground river, he writes, but many wells into that river: an African well, a Taoist well, a Buddhist well, a Muslim well, a goddess well, a Jewish well, a Christian well. To go down a well is to practice a tradition, but we would make a grave mistake, he believes, an idolatrous one, to confuse the well itself with the flowing waters. Idolatry. Fox's approach to religion is not to put up individual fences around it, or abandon it, or make it into another science, or strip it of its symbols and myths, but to indeed let religious and spiritual images and stories multiply and explode with more and more creativity and glory, he wrote. Creativity and glory. In his wonderfully helpful book, titled, not surprisingly, One River, Many Wells, he contrasts a traditional Advent message that Christianity is indisputably the one and only light in the world, symbolized by the lighting of the candles on the 4 Sundays before Christmas, with a deep multi-religiosity calling for a rich and inclusive understanding of the significance and role of light in spirituality and worship. We are reminded by him then to talk of creation at all is to talk about light. It's evident in so many stories about the beginnings of the world, from Egyptian myths to Genesis, the prologue to John's Gospel in the Bible, to that of today's creation story from science, that brilliant burst of light that some call the Big Bang. Scriptures or sacred texts from all over the world that describe light and tell stories of the magic and mystery and power of light. In the Vedas, ancient Hindu scriptures, Brahman or God is celebrated as light. The cosmic waters glow, I am light. The light glows, I am Brahman. We are told that parallels about light abound among the African and Celtic and Native and Hindu teachings and the scriptures of all 3 traditions of the Abrahamic faith. In Jewish mystic tradition, the meaning of the title of the famous medieval mystical work, the Zohar, is translated into radiance, splendor, or brilliance, and the text itself teaches us that the glow of the Shekinah, the female God spirit, shined in Moses, and when he was born, the whole house was filled with light. Have you ever heard that before? That when he was born, the whole house filled with light, the light within Moses. God is the light of heavens and the earth, says the Quran. In other words, light is not the exclusive property of one religious tradition or another at the winter holidays or at any other time of the year. In fact, it seems to be a universal symbol of enlightenment and hope. So Matthew Fox anticipated that some people would raise objections to this universalist small u approach to religious myths, symbols, and rituals by once again calling it syncretism. Are we fusing too many religions together, they will ask, he wrote, and in doing so dishonoring the differences between faiths, or denying that there are some exclusive revelations and truth? Well, he wrote, it's time our species grew up. Fox boldly asserted in response, the horrible genocides in Bosnia and Kosovo, the eruption of Islamic Jihad, the endless religious conflicts in Israel and Gaza, the Inquisition, the Crusades, the pogroms, the religious wars, and colonial conquests in the name of religion. Haven't we seen enough of the shadow side of religiosity? Emphasize the likenesses instead, because the alternative has become too deadly. We Unitarian Universalists, despite much bad PR about our lack of a religious center, you've heard that, have you not, have had the tendency, mostly a good and constructive tendency is turning out, to universalize spirituality, to look for and emphasize common stories and symbols. When we mindfully remember this holiday season to light both the menorah and Advent candles in their proper time, resurrect the earth-centered winter solstice rituals of life, and in years past adding the candles of Kwanzaa, we recognize what African-American theologian Howard Thurman saw as the central call of his religious vocation. He wrote, to move from our little walls, our little altars, our little God, our little lives of defending our little barriers to living in the universe that sustains great adventure instead. That which inspires the mind, he believed, to multiply experiences in unity, which experiences of unity become over and over and over again more compelling than the concepts and the ways of life and the sects and the creeds that continue to separate us. Sounds good. So we should congratulate ourselves. Once a sermon, I always ask you to applaud Unitarian Universalism. So let's go. You can applaud a little more. Because you know what happens next with me, right? There's at least a small, on the other hand, to be spoken here, and what might be our complete self-congratulation. I don't believe that Matthew Fox or Howard Thurman or Diana Eck or any of the other true leaders in this brave and prophetic movement to develop what in essence is really a world Bible, and to find what one writer calls the core of religion in the faith of the common heart, would want to see the holy days and rituals of individual traditions so reworked, so chopped up, or so homogenized that they completely lose their original culture and context. Or that we force or mistake commercialized cultural assimilation for a meaningful mingling of religious waters. Speaking from my parents' original religious tradition, for example, turning what was and is a particular 8-day remembrance of a Jewish story and a very minor Jewish religious festival, Hanukkah, into just another piece of what has become a 2-month-long blowout of Christmas. Putting out the menorah, for example, at the same time we put up the green garlands of pine. Lighting the menorah when it's convenient, for example, or lighting, this is my, like the one I really hate, lighting the 8 candles all at once so that the lights look pretty, as if they are just another holiday decoration, or randomly recognizing Buddhism's Bodhi Day, the day that Buddha achieved enlightenment, some random Sunday in December. It was December 8th, okay? December 8th, not just some random Sunday in December. Or for that matter, limiting our congregational religious pluralism only to holiday rites and symbols and songs, skirting completely the matter of the beliefs, theological and ethical, that underpin different faith traditions by not really learning about them in any sort of depth, and then not going through the process of critically comparing them with our individual beliefs or our UU principles and purposes, and now our common values. Just saying, we're not perfect. Despite step backwards such as the chain store Hobby Lobby's decision to only carry Christian merchandise this holiday season again, there have been, and this is so incredible, there have been some remarkable steps forward, including in September when Pope Francis praised cultural and religious diversity as a, quote, gift from God, unquote. In a video message to an interreligious youth conference, he said that all religions are paths to reach the holy. Pope Francis, all religions are paths to reach the holy. Echoing again Howard Thurman, who said it well when he gave his vision of what the common faith of interreligiousness can accomplish. The lines of connection, the shared ideals, and the celebratory magic at the center of all world spiritualities. What we dimly now, he said, see in the churning confusion and chaos of our tempestuous times will someday be the experience of all children everywhere. May it be so, starting this holiday season. Thank you. And now our closing hymn is 235, Deck the Hall. Deck the Hall. The Hall. And read, as you sing the song, how earth-centered this really is. This really is. Deck the Hall, number 235.
There is some debate as to whether or not that was a typo, because all the other words are exactly the words that you grew up with, which is a little rarity.
In a UU hymnal, yeah.
So there's a little, as a, among the members of the choir, let us say between me and Martha, dispute as to Martha the perfectionist pointed out that this is a singular. Well, that was just a mistake. Oh, well, jointly. Well, it should be there for your So, my own feeling is, feel free to pluralize it or singularize it. Whoops, I take that back. It's one hall, our hall.
Yeah, it's all. Deck all.
Tis the season.
intended. I forgot to show you our one Hanukkah decoration in my house. It's Hanukkah Harry. And you're free, I'll leave it here so you can enjoy him. No electric menorah, and I won't get the 8-foot one, but this is our Hanukkah Harry. He comes up every year. The closing words are kind of an advertisement for our upcoming lay ministry program because they were written by Herb West, who is a lay minister, worship leader for our Athens UU Fellowship. During this season of holidays and holy days, we celebrate the return of light and warmth and focus on what we can do, each one of us, to share hope, peace, civility, empathy, and compassion in the world. Amen.
Please join me in these words as we extinguish our candles. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of unity, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Before we adjourn, anyone with a brief spoken announcement, they come to the microphone. After the announcements, please stay after the benediction for coffee and conversation.
It's a holiday miracle.
When I first saw the tree, I thought it looked so pitiful with just one ornament on it.
Yeah.
So I brought some more, and if anybody wants to put an ornament on, help yourself.
The Christmas Eve service is now full, so we'll have a good activity. It will start at 6 o'clock. I know some place it said 7, but we will be at 6 so that we're not starving or kids falling out and stuff like that. And in terms of cookies, Noriko has graciously coordinating the hot chocolate and cookies. So if you have some cookies, you can talk with her or just bring them, and we'll all have a good time. So see you Tuesday.
Let us rise in body and spirit and sing the benediction.
Mm-hmm.